I don't think I will postpone doing something about you until I'm elected. To start with, I think I'll break your neck.
Maybe you can do it, maybe you can't, Mr. Kane.
Charles, your breaking this man's neck would scarcely explain this note. Serious consequences for Mr. Kane, for yourself, and for your son.
He just wanted to get her to come here, and
What does this note mean, Miss?
I'm Susan Alexander. I know what you think, Mrs. Kane.
What does this note mean, Miss Alexander?
She don't know, Mrs. Kane. She just sent it because I made her see it wouldn't be smart for her not to send it.
In case you don't know, Emily, this gentleman...
I'm not a gentleman. Your husband's only trying to be funny, calling me one. I don't even know what a gentleman is. You see, my idea of a gentleman... But, Mrs. Kane, if I owned a newspaper and I didn't like the way somebody was doing things, some politicians say, I'd fight him with everything I had. Only I wouldn't show him in a convict suit with stripes so his children could see the picture in the paper or his mother.
You're a cheap, crooked grafter.
We're talking now about what you are. Mrs. Kane, I'm fighting for my life, not just my political life, my life.
Charlie said no, she was...
That's what I said. Here's the chance I'm willing to give him. More of a chance than he'd give me. Unless Mr. Kane makes up his mind by tomorrow that he's so sick he has to go away for a year or two. Monday morning, every paper in the state except his will carry the story I'm going to give him.
What story?
Story about him and Miss Alexander, Mrs. Kane.
There isn't any story.
Shut up!
Mr. Kane,
We got evidence that'll look bad in the headlines. Do you want me to give you the evidence, Mr. Kane? I'd rather Mr. Kane withdrew without having to get the story published. Not that I care about him, but I'd be better off.
What about...
So would you, Mrs. Kane.
What about me? Charlie said my name would be dragged through the mud. That everywhere I went from
There
now
seems
on...
to be only one decision you can make, Charles. I'd say it had been made for you.
Can't tell me the voters of this state...
I'm not interested in the voters of this state right now. I'm interested in our son.
Charlie, if they publish the story, it'll be
They
all...
won't. Good night, Mr. Geddes. Are you coming, Charles?
No. I'm staying here. I can fight this all alone.
Charles, if you don't listen to reason, it may be too late.
Too late? For what? For you and this public thief to take the love of the people of this state away from me?
Charlie, you got other things to think about. Your little boy. You don't want him to read about you in the papers.
There's only one person in the world to decide what I'm going to do, and that's me.
You decided what you were going to do, Charles, some time ago.
You're making a bigger fool of yourself than I thought you would, Mr. Kane.
I've got nothing to talk to you about.
You licked. Why don't you...
Get out. If you want to see me, have the warden write me a letter.
If there's anybody else that'd say what's going to happen to you, it'd be a lesson to you. Only you're going to need more than one lesson. And you're going to get more than one lesson.
Don't worry about me, Geddes. Don't worry about me! I'm Charles Foster Kane! I'm no cheap, crooked politician trying to save himself from the consequences of his crimes! Geddes! I'm going to send you to Sing Sing! Sing